Welcome everybody to today's Sockeye webinar. Today's session is featuring Vincent Pate. He's a senior account manager for Sage Paperless. And Pate, Vincent, I'll let you tell everybody a little bit about your background and your role at Paperless.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Yeah, hi everyone. I actually came from the world of Sage myself. I worked for 11 years at Sage CRE for both Sage 100 Contractor, Sage 300, and a couple of their other products that they had around at the time. But 5 years ago, I went directly to the Sage Paperless construction team and have been working there ever since. So thank you very much, John, for that introduction.
Sure.
So for the webcast here, I'm going to go through just a couple quick slides with you, and then we're going to jump straight into a demonstration so you can take a look at the OCR product that is available for Sage Paperless Construction. But before we get into the demo, let me clarify what is OCR. OCR is optical character recognition. And what that means is that you have a piece of paper with some type of documentation on it, and we're going to scan that document and read the information off of it. Now, there's actually different versions of OCR that are out there in the market. The old style OCR used to be where you would manually have to select a template for every single vendor structure there was, which meant, putting little highlights and rubber bands around every single location. And if the date wasn't exactly in that location, if it was moved off by a quarter of an inch or moved up or down, it wouldn't read. What we've found is in the modern version of OCR, it's so much easier to just scan the whole document, look for keywords, and then pull the information out next to those. And that's exactly what we have with the paperless OCR product we're going to be showing you today. And on the screen, you'll see there are the top 5 fields we typically grab with what we call the invoice starter pack of the product. Now, we are not limited to that. We can actually go further and grab other types of fields as you need, but these are what the vast majority of the people using our software are using it for. And so we're going to scan that document, and we're going to grab the invoice number. We're going to grab the date, the total dollar amount, the purchase order if you have purchase orders, and we'll check the vendor to your vendor database back in Sage. And this is just done on a global scale. And that means most vendors that you provide into the system will just work right out of the box without having to go any deeper. Of course, there are training, and if you can go ahead and flip the slide, John. And there is also training involved. So this on-the-fly training that is in the OCR product means that if, let's say, one of your vendors has 3 different formats, and one of them they decide to use some different terminology altogether. So instead of the words invoice number, they put the words IN dot. Well, that's probably not enough to kick off the keyword search for invoices. So you can train the system by just pointing to where it's looking at and then saying save. And as the longer you use those vendors and the more training you put on them, the more accurate things become. So this becomes a product that the longer you use it, the more accurate. And it gets to the point where unless there's a major change on one of your vendors, things are just going to be automated through and through. This is also built directly into Paperless itself, right into the queues you're already using in AP Flow if you're an AP Flow user already, or would be if you are looking at AP Flow for Paperless. This means that we can still bring information and your invoices to be OCR'd the same ways you're doing today. Scanning, pulling and dragging and dropping, doing a Outlook inbox search. All this can be brought in the way you're doing today. So at this point, John, go ahead and flip one more slide. We are going to jump into a live demonstration. And so I'm going to have John stop sharing his screen, and I'm going to share mine. All right. John, just to confirm, you see my green screen?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you. So popping over into Sage Paperless Construction, we're going to go into AP Flow. The OCR product we're talking today, as I mentioned earlier, is directly integrated right into the queues you are probably already using today. And what we've done is we add these 2 extra columns to the queues, and you can have as many queues as you want. There is no limitation. So if every AP processor wants their own specific OCR queue to maintain and manage, that's totally fine. Or you can have one single public queue that everyone has access to. It's all working based on what is dropped into that queue, and then it starts reading. And we work off a traffic light symbol. Yellow is how it actually comes in originally. When it comes in, it's thinking, it's processing, and the yellow will let you indicate that that's happening. Once it's done, it'll either turn green or red. If it's green, like mine are here, then that means it found no issues with what it read, and it has passed the values over into AP Flow to be working off of. And that looks just like this. I pop up my invoice, and here's my invoice on the left-hand side for Northwest Concrete, and here's what it gathered. It grabbed the Northwest Concrete vendor out of my database. It's matching it up based on the name in Sage to what's on the physical invoice. It's going to grab the invoice number. It's grabbing my invoice date. It's grabbing the total. And I even told it to grab the purchase order number from the system as well. And if this is all correct, all I have to do at that point is do the human aspect. If this is for a job, I just hit the job button and pop in my job and hit route. If this is for a purchase order, we'll actually bring up the PO quick list for you, where you can just copy and paste that purchase order right into there and create your PO on the fly. Very quick and easy, and it takes all of that human entry of the mundane part of writing up an invoice and gets it all automated, which doesn't not just helps you with time, but it also helps you with accuracy, less human error, fat fingering a 3285 to say 3286 or something of that nature. And so each invoice, as you go through them, will just be already completed for you. Managed right construction, invoice number, dates, dollar amounts, and then I just put the human element to it. That's, of course, once everything's working, which is very likely to be most of your invoices. Out of the box, we tend to do a very high percentage without doing any extra customization, and then the rest is all on-the-fly training, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So let's say, for example, this one didn't read properly for whatever reason. I would just go up here and bring up the little icon here, which says, let's go and edit or learn about this document. So it launches a web portal to be able to access that invoice. And I just realized that one's a read only. Let me rerun that one more time. And so it brings up the web portal. And here it's going to show you what it found and allow you to make corrections if it didn't find something right. Now, in this case, it did find everything right. It found the invoice number and the date and the purchase order number and the total dollar amount, and it matched Barth Electric all here without a problem. But let's just say, for example, this wasn't the order number we wanted. We wanted that order number for the purchase order. All you got to do is unselect what was there, highlight the new area. It puts it right there. You hit save. Now, for this to train in perpetuity, you just need to do it several times, because the system at first is going to say, okay, this is a one-off. After you've done it a couple times, they'll say, oh, this is a permanent change you would like. And that's where that on-the-fly training comes in. And then going forward, once it figures that out, it's now grabbing that new number for you going from that time forward. Same thing if you move the date over to another field or the invoice number or whatever it is you're training on within the system. Now, if you happen to have a utility bill or something like that, which doesn't even have an invoice, this will, of course, have errored out because it couldn't find it. You can just manually type it in at that point without a problem. Hit save and move on. And that's the OCR product. It's very basic, but that's a good thing. It means that you don't have to train up a whole team on a complex software on how to use this. You just need to train them on where to point to select your documents in the right locations, and then the system trains on the fly. And as you're using this more and more, things just start filling in for you when you open up your AP Flow screen. That is the product today and is how it's going to be working for a while, but also note that it is expandable. I mentioned that earlier in the slideshow. You can have it do extra fields as need be. We're also planning on rolling this out for other document types as well in the future. AP checks are probably the next one on the list. Certificates of insurance are coming, and these all use the same product. And if you add this for invoices, it's just a real simple switch over to start looking at other documents from there. But invoices is a great place to start, and how I would recommend most people take a look at this. So with that, John, pass it back to you for any closing statements.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent. That was great. That is just super simple, and what a huge productivity gain that can be realized for folks that are doing paperless. Paperless by itself is a huge productivity gain. But when you add the OCR on top of that, it's just a no-brainer. Thank you so much, Vincent. Appreciate your time and showing us that product today. If anybody has any questions, they can contact their Sockeye account rep, and we hope to be talking to you soon. Thank you.